Good morning, good morning, good morning, ladies. How are we doing today? I hope that you are doing well. I'm so glad to be back with you guys today. I know last week was a little bit hectic. I was about to go on vacation, and so I did pop on unexpectedly on Saturday to kind of give you some ideas of things that I was consuming on the fly and the run during vacation. And so if you missed that one, you can head back and watch the replay on it if you are doing any summer traveling, outs and abouts. I gave some good things that I have enjoyed and I found at a Natural Grocers. I'm here in Texas, and so that is one of the, I feel like, bougie places that I get to go not very often, and especially without children. But when I do have time to look around and find treats that I feel are fun, maybe not staples, but things that are rewards for me to be able to consume just because it's fun. So I got a few of those, and so I will be kind of going through those the rest of the next couple of weeks until the kids find them. I got some banana bites that were amazing, I have to say, but on the way home after we picked up the kids, they're like, "What are those, Mommy? Oh my gosh, these are amazing." And just like that, they're gone. So I'll have to find those and see if I can get them on Amazon or something. But such is life. Sharing is not always my strong point, but I do think it is something that is valuable, especially when it's good quality food for the kids too. But I digress. We will go ahead and get started today. So we're starting a new series today through the end of the month about meal prep. And so if meal prepping is not your jam, if meal prepping is something that you hear and it's like the word budget, you're like, oh, here we go again, this is a great talk for you. So I kind of wanted to start out with telling you how I got started on meal prepping. So I don't know if you know, but I am part of a military family. My husband is in the Army, and so when he deployed for the second time, my oldest, which is now 8, was about 2 at the time. And I was working a full-time job at the Army Wellness Center, seeing clients every day. We do metabolic testing and the bod pod and all of those lovely health and wellness related actions. And I was having a very hard time being able to consume everything that I knew was good quality for me just because I didn't have the time to be able to make everything. And so on Saturday mornings, I would get up in the morning and I would meal prep. And I would tell myself, okay, you have on Saturday morning until noon to get it all done. And so I was a crazy mad woman in the kitchen. I would get everything, I'd get up and I'd get everything done before noon. And then the last part of the day, I would try to clean the house. And so it just made life so much easier for me. I would have to say, if you are going to start prepping, or if you do prep, what is the one thing that you always make sure you have meal-wise? So for me, it's breakfast, because I do believe breakfast is the most important part of the day. But also, I believe, like I was talking about a few weeks ago with your morning routine, if you have something that is consistent for you to be able to go on and start your day with, my day just becomes a little bit more seamless. And so if I knew breakfast was taken care of, I knew I would start off on the right foot. And then from there, happiness would follow in a lot of ways. And so for me, it was breakfast. I started out with that. And eventually I got to where I would just prep all 3. I'm not someone that minds eating the same thing, but I do see that that is a common thing for most people that don't meal prep. They're like, well, I don't want to eat the same thing 7 times. You don't have to if you don't want to. Don't meal prep as much of that certain item if you don't want to eat it 7 times. And that's completely okay and understandable too. But I want to tell you why meal prepping is important. And so 3 things. I'll make it quick and easy this morning. I know I've been a little bit long-winded the last few. So with meal prepping, I would say first and foremost, it does help you eliminate the aspect of eating by emotions. And so how many times you go into the kitchen and you say, oh my goodness, I'm so hungry, what am I going to have? Okay. And when you say that, what am I going to have? Usually it's the things that aren't so awesome and getting us to our goals that you usually pick, because of course they taste better sometimes, right? Or they're staring you there in the face. So I would say, if I know for sure what I have and what I have prepped, then I'm more disciplined to pick what I've already prepped because I don't want that food to go to waste. So this happens, when we're stressed and we go to the fridge or we go to the pantry. This happens when we're hangry. This happens when we just don't have a plan or an idea of what's going to come about. Hey, Carol, how's it going? This is what you have that you can rely on, that is dedicated for you, that is there, and it takes some of the guesswork out, and it allows you to make a good decision in so many ways because it's already there for you. So that would be the number one reason why I prep, is because, to be honest, it keeps me accountable to what I know I need to consume. And so, Carol, if you have something that is your favorite thing to meal prep, let me know in the comments below. And if you're watching this on the replay later on, then know that if you can put in something that you do enjoy to meal prep, that would be great, because then that way maybe we can get some new and fun ideas off of that. So with that being said, I would say number 2, it helps me be able to have a more balanced meal. So when I started actually prepping out my lunches for the entire week, I would always have, my protein, and I would have my vegetable. And then from there, I would add on if I wanted a carbohydrate or if I wanted a fat. A lot of times I would have multiple crock pots. You guys that know me know that I have multiple crock pots. They're my jam. Instapots haven't been something that I've embraced, but with my crock pots, I would line them all out on the calendar, on the counter. Good morning, Wendy. Quinoa is a good one. I have made quinoa in the crock pot, amazingly enough. I agree. It is a great one to be able to have, and you can make it into breakfast or lunch or add it into a dinner. I think that's a great one, Carol. I would also say that with the crock pot quinoa or crock pot oatmeal, I would line them all up in a line, and I would have like just chicken with like broth, in one. And I would say, okay, I'm going to make, maybe a chicken salad, maybe a chicken breast with just some veggies. Maybe I'm going to put it on top of a sweet potato. I would have that chicken that would just be basically cooked and like a nice neutral for me to add into several different meals. And then right next to it, I would have, let's say, like a butternut squash or a spaghetti squash. Yes, you can cook those in the crock pot. Ask me how I know. So I would put that in there, and then maybe the third dish, yes, 3 crock pots. I know, I'm a little bit ridiculous. But the third one, I would have a different type of protein in. And so with those, I knew that those staples would already be done and that I could make something quick and easy from them. So I would have to say that when I put my protein in with my vegetable for lunch, I would know that I had enough because I was making proper proportions when I was prepping things out already. But I would also know that this is what I'm consuming because this is what I have. And so it kept me dedicated to stay to what I know I knew I needed instead of what I felt like I wanted. So if I had something that was there and that was available, I could just grab it and say, no, this is what I'm eating because this is what I have prepped. And so I would have a few different options for lunch. What I would end up doing is taking them all actually in to work and putting them in the work refrigerator. So then that way I didn't have the opportunity to conveniently forget something one day because I am kind of scatterbrained like that. And even so now, with having 3 that I have to get out the door than just 1 at that time when I first started meal prepping, I'd bring everything in and put it all in the refrigerator. And so I would have my breakfast I would usually eat in the car, so I wouldn't take it, but I would have, my mid-morning snack, I would have my lunch, and then have my mid-afternoon snack, and it would all be in the refrigerator there and ready for me. And then I wouldn't have any guesswork. I wouldn't have any, I'm stressed and I don't know what I'm packing. I'm hangry and I don't know what I'm eating. I know it's there. I know it's what it needs to be. And I've already planned it out when I wasn't hungry to make sure that I had things that were good and healthy instead of things that were just convenient for me. So that would be my number 2, is it just made things more balanced. I mean, because honestly, whoever gets up in the morning and says, oh my goodness, I really want broccoli today. It is so yummy. And sometimes maybe I do want greens, like I will say, sometimes I do crave a salad. But a lot of times it's like, I know this is what I need to eat. I know this is what's good and healthy for my body. And I can make it super yummy, but it's not going to be the first thing that I pick on a whim. So I just kind of keep those things there and dedicated for myself to know that I can be disciplined if I set myself up for that. And then I would say like the last thing that I love meal prepping for is because it saves time and eliminates guesswork. And so some of you might be going, but you have to take the time to prep it. How does that work? How are you saying that saves times? You're just paying it forward, right? Okay, so I hear you guys, you naysayers out there. With that, I would say that for me, when I do things in the crock pot, it does save me time because I can put it all in there and then I can walk away. So the example in the beginning, when I would do my cleaning, I would get the crock pots all going and then I would start my cleaning. And so, or if I needed to do, let's say eggs or on the stove oatmeal or anything like that, I would do it while the crock pot was actually working. And so this works with multiple appliances, of course. But I would have to say that it allowed me to be able to do other things. So sometimes I would get up first thing in the morning and I would start something, and then, you know, me and my oldest would actually go out and we would do something in and about, and I didn't have to sit there and watch it. I didn't have to wonder, like, is it okay? Is it not? And then I would come back and I would, you know, divvy everything up. And it just made life a lot easier for me. So I would say that meal prepping for me is a must. And so it's going to look different for everybody. And next week, I'm going to actually start talking about where to begin. So if you haven't ever done it, you know, what are some good tips just to kind of bring it in? So I won't do the spoiler alert today on that, but I will tell you that it has become so much a part of my routine that it is done every single week. And so for me, staying dedicated to it means that I do it at the exact same time. So now this has changed throughout the years. So like I said, when I first started, I did it on a Saturday morning. My husband wasn't home and it was cartoons for my, you know, my then 2-year-old. But nowadays I would say I do it right after we go to morning service on Sunday. So we are early birds. We like to get up and get our service done. And so we go to the 8:30 service, and then a lot of times my mother-in-law will take my kiddos to her church as well. So yeah, they get double Jesus. There ain't too much Jesus, right? So with that being said, during that time when my youngest is at nap and my other two are not there, that's when I try to just get it done as much as possible. And so for you, that might be different. For you, it might be setting the crock pot and doing it overnight. For you, it might be on a Wednesday night. I do have some ladies that they're like, you know, my Wednesday night is when I do it. Like I make my oatmeal cups, I make my muffins, I get everything done good and easy. Yeah, veggies and quinoa. So we've had a lot of quinoa here today. I like it. I like it. Quinoa is such an amazing grain. I could really caveat on that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to, you know, keep quiet about quinoa because I could be here for days. But I do like that you guys love quinoa because I think it is an underestimated grain. So many times we say, oh, you know, we'll just take the brown rice. But the quinoa is so much more versatile, I feel like, than brown rice. So I'm glad. And it's got more protein. It's complete. So with that being said, everybody needs to go out and make some quinoa today and prep that ahead. And know that your meal prepping can be what you want it to be. So if that means it is something as simple as having a menu of what I could possibly make in the dinners, then that's okay. I know sometimes for me, it's crazy. And so my meal prep literally is just taking meat out of the freezer and putting it in a bowl to thaw. And then that way I already know, hey, I'm going to have tacos. I'm going to have possibly spaghetti. I'm going to possibly have, you know, chicken in the air fryer. I don't know which days I'm going to have what. And so that's okay too, but I already have it out and I already know that when I go to make dinner that things are going to be thawed. And if not, you know, you can always use your Instapot. So for my Instapot lovers out there, I will have to say that meal prepping is something that can be tailored to you. That's the big thing that I want you to kind of get out of this today, is not that it has to be done a certain way, that you have to spend hours in the kitchen, that it is only done if it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I have to eat the same thing every time. No, meal prepping can look so different for so many people. And so if you have something that you absolutely love and you're watching on the replay, let us know, #replay, and tell us what you love to prep. So stay tuned. Next week, we'll be going over where to begin. And then the last week in July, we'll be going over some of my staples that I love that I never get tired of. I rotate them in and on my menu quite often because they are seamless and quick. So have a beautiful rest of your day, ladies. Like I said, I was going to try to keep it short today. So 15 minutes. Here we go. Give me a big applause wherever you are, because I am long-winded and I will completely attest to that. But I do hope that you guys have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day, and that I will see you next week.